All right, let's talk about quality. I know, it sounds kind of dry, maybe a little industrial, right? But stick with me here, because this is actually the secret sauce, the hidden science behind why some things we use just feel perfect, while other stuff is just a constant headache. So let's kick things off with a big question. I mean, really think about it. Why does that one pen you love always write smoothly? Or why does that one app on your phone just never crash? It's not magic. It's not an accident. There's a whole world of deep, data-driven thinking behind it. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see exactly how it all works. Okay, so where do we even start? Well, it all begins with this fundamental battle, really, that's happening inside any product or service you can possibly imagine. You can think of it as a tale of two completely different, competing voices. So in one corner, you've got the voice of the customer. This is what they want, what they demand. These are their non-negotiables, right? We call them specification limits. Think about it like this. A client orders a cake and says it absolutely has to be between 8 and 9 inches tall. No more, no less. That's their spec. Then in the other corner, you have the voice of the process. This is reality. This is what your system can actually deliver, with all its little quirks and natural variations. We measure this with what are called control limits. This is your oven, day in and day out, baking cakes that are, say, between 8.25 and 8.75 inches tall. See the difference? And that right there leads us to the absolute golden rule of quality. It's so simple, but it's incredibly powerful. For anything to work, the voice of the process, what you can do, has to fit neatly inside the voice of the customer, what they want. Your oven's natural wobble has to stay within the client's rules. If it doesn't, you're basically guaranteeing you'll have unhappy customers. Okay, but here's where the thinking gets even deeper, and it really challenges that simple pass-fail idea. There's this concept called the Taguchi loss function, and it basically says, hey, just being inside the lines isn't good enough. Any little deviation from the perfect target, it creates a loss. Think about a doctor's office. You might have an acceptable wait time of 30 minutes, but a 25-minute wait is still way more annoying than a 5-minute wait, right? That extra annoyance is a loss for the business. So the real goal isn't just to be good enough. The real goal is to hit the dead center of the bullseye every single time. So we've got this constant tug of war between what's wanted and what's possible. How do you even begin to bridge that gap? Well, there's an old saying, you can't manage what you don't measure. So it's time to stop talking about feelings and start looking at some cold, hard facts. And we do that with a couple of key numbers. The first one is called CP, or process capability. All this asks is a really simple question. Is your process potentially good enough? Is the variation small enough to fit? It's like looking at your car and the garage door and going, yep, the car is definitely narrower than the opening. It can fit. But that's only half the story. That's where CPK, the performance index, comes in. This is the reality check. It asks, okay, the car can fit, but are you actually parking it in the middle? Because if you're scraping the paint off on one side, you're still failing, right? CPK tells you if you've nailed the parking job, perfectly in the center. Now, if you're really serious about this stuff, the holy grail, the gold standard, is something you've probably heard of, Six Sigma quality. This is a level of performance that is so dialed in, so precise, it's almost hard to even imagine. We're talking nearly perfect. So just how perfect is nearly perfect? Get this. The number is 3.4. And what that means is a process running at 6 Sigma quality will only produce 3.4 mistakes for every 1 million times it's done. That is just an insane, mind-boggling level of precision. And this table really shows you the journey. It's pretty wild. Look, at what seems like a pretty good level, 4 Sigma, you're still getting over 6,000 defects per million. That's a lot of unhappy customers. But watch what happens. You jump to 5 Sigma, and it drops to just over 200. Then you make that final leap to 6 Sigma, and boom, 3.4. The number of failures just falls off a cliff. This is why that relentless push for improvement is so critical. Okay, so measuring your gap is huge. But the truly elite companies, they play a different game. They're not just reacting to problems and fixing them. They're trying to prevent problems from ever even being born. And one of their best tools for this is called an FMEA. That's Failure Mode and Effects Analysis. You can think of it as a pre-mortem. The team gets in a room before they even build anything, and they just brainstorm. They ask, what are all the dumb ways this thing could break? What could possibly go wrong? It's all about anticipating disaster so you can design it out from the very beginning. Of course, you can't fix everything, right? You'd come up with 100 potential problems. So how do you prioritize?
They use a simple score called the Risk Priority Number, or RPN. They just rate each potential failure on three things. How bad would it be if it happened? How often do we think it might happen? And how easy is it for us to catch it before it gets to the customer? You multiply those three scores together, and whichever potential failure has the highest number, that's where you start.
And the brilliant solutions that come out of this kind of thinking often fall under this Japanese idea called poka-yoke. It just means mistake-proofing. It's the art of designing something so cleverly that it's literally impossible to mess up. The perfect example we all use every day? A USB-C cable. There's no wrong way to plug it in. That's poka-yoke. It makes the right way the only way.
All right, so we've measured the gap. We've designed out future failures. Now it's time for the final and maybe the most powerful piece of this whole puzzle. This is a mindset that can unlock massive improvements, and fast. It's called the theory of constraints, and the core idea is shockingly simple. Any complex system, a business, a project team, even your morning routine, isn't being held back by 100 little things. Nope. It's being held back by one single thing, one bottleneck. The entire system is like a chain, and it's only as strong as its weakest link.
So, how do you fix it? You follow a simple 5-step recipe. Step 1, find that one bottleneck. Step 2, squeeze every last drop of performance out of it using what you already have. Don't buy anything new yet. Step 3, make every other part of the system's #1 job to support that bottleneck. Everyone serves the constraint. If that's still not enough, then and only then do you elevate it. You spend money, you add resources. And once you've broken it, you go right back to step 1 and find the new bottleneck, because there will always be one.
But how do you actually find that constraint in the real world? It's easier than you think. Just look for the piles. Seriously, go walk through your process. Wherever you see a big pile of paperwork, or a bunch of emails in an inbox, or a line of people just waiting, that's it. You found it. The work is piling up right before the bottleneck. Waste always points to the constraint. And that's the whole journey right there. It's a complete roadmap. You start by understanding that core conflict between what's wanted and what's possible. Then you measure the gap with real numbers. You get ahead of the game and prevent failures before they can even happen. And finally, you find and fix the one single thing that's holding everything back. So I want to leave you with one final question to chew on. Think about your most important goal right now, at work, in a personal project, whatever. What is the one thing, the single constraint that's holding you back? If you could just fix that one thing, everything else would get easier. Find that constraint, and I promise you, you've found the key to your next big breakthrough. Thanks for watching.